Welcome back to Driven to Live. We're your host. I'm Stephen Rivers. This is Jesus Garcia, Jesus at the wheel. Or, hold on. It's Jesus behind the wheel, not at the wheel.
Well, close enough.
Yeah, close enough, I suppose. Welcome to our 33rd episode. This one's going to be a little bit different than normal. We're going to kind of, kind of let you guys behind the curtain a little bit. We've got a ton of general car news topics, right? There's new car brands coming out. There's old new car brands coming out. There's crazy stuff happening on public roads. There's AI tracking that's happening inside of cars. A lot of you have probably heard of, I think it's called like the kill switch that's coming to cars. And so we're going to break that down. We're also going to talk to Jesus about his experience in the Nissan Armada NISMO. If you're a longtime listener, you've heard me talk about my experience with that vehicle. Now we get to see what Jesus thinks. He took it to Cars and Coffee this morning, and evidently it was a massive disaster. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Jesus, what do you want to start with, bro?
I will start with the Armada. It's still fresh in my head. So
Yeah. The Nissan Armada NISMO. You've had it for a week now, is that right? Or right around there?
Fourth thing. Anyways, it's funny 'cause I've driven the Armada Pro 4X and the Platinum and Platinum Reserve, I should say, and now this is the NISMO, which is their hot rod version. And when we first saw this thing debut, we kind of laughed at it because it looks ridiculous because it's a giant SUV with a Midnight Club Dub Edition body kit on it. And so people think, who's going to buy this? Who's this for? Why are we doing this? So I already written it off in my head. But then I finally got it. I thought, all right, cool. Let's put all this aside. Let's start fresh. First impressions. Start driving it. Because right away, it looks like a refrigerator on wheels. It's very boxy. One of my friends said it looks like the Scion XB, but supersized.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. You're totally right.
Very boxy. So I thought, all right, this is an SUV. This is a fat SUV cosplaying as a sports car, right? It's Comic-Con on wheels. Fine, no problem. Then I drove it. I was like, oh, okay. The point that this car is ridiculous, that's the point. This thing is meant to be fun, full stop. It's jolly. It's Chris Farley. It's meant to be.
Oh, jolly is such a good word for it, dude.
That's what this thing is. You drive it, and you're like, it makes you smile. You can't help. It's got a little bit of power to it. It's got 460 horsepower. It's got red Alcantara seats for everyone. And when I took it to Cars and Coffee, it was the only SUV there, and people were just geeking out about it. They're looking around because they had all seen it online, but they never seen it in person. So this is the first time they get to see it in person, and they're like, whoa. They're like, how much is it? What is it? Can you open the doors? Like, yeah, open the doors. Do whatever you want. It's not my car. It's a press car. And they were just out there like, dude. It's one guy who said, oh, this is cooler than a Durango Hellcat. And I was like, that is high praise.
That is wrong.
I won't go that far. But I will say that people really gravitated to it because it's different without being foreign. Because, it's not like a Aston Martin DBX or a Lamborghini Uranus. It's just a Nissan Armada with a cool body kit and some little superhero graphics on it, and people do like the body kit. They like that it's those side rails on the side. They don't go up. They're fixed. They love the giant wheels. They love that they can fit their whole family in here and enjoy it. And I keep thinking like, man, this thing would be so cool to tow like GTR with it, which I'm pretty sure they did that for the press launch. But people really love. I've fallen in love with the rear diffuser, that body kit. It does look like that. That's impressive. My hats off to the designers because that must not have been an easy challenge. Like, all right, guys, take this giant Armada and make it a custom body kit that doesn't look like crap. And okay. Well, yeah, I would also appreciate that with this NISMO package, you're not losing anything. You get probably more stuff because you still have off-road settings. You still have all-wheel drive. You can still have adjustable suspension. You still have the best, in my opinion, the best adaptive cruise control on the market because it fluctuates speeds and it measures the gap between the distance between other cars without disturbing you. You don't feel like you're in a student driver's ed car. You're not jerking your head back and forth when it's braking, accelerating, or changing lanes. It is the smoothest I've driven it in all the other vehicles. Now, it's still an Armada, so the suspension even though it is NISMO tuned and the steering is also tuned, it still has that kind of bouncy sway to it on the highway because it's still a big SUV. But I will say, driving across San Antonio to and back from Cars and Coffee this morning, 22 miles per gallon. That's pretty good for a big old SUV. And then
Yeah, tough to complain.
one other thing I realized is where we're at in the car market, because this thing, according to the cheat sheet, this particular one retails for $84,000. And when I said that to people, everyone said, "Oh, that's not bad." It's like, it's not that bad. It's pretty bad.
Should buy a house.
Wait, 84 grand, that is no joke. That's like, dude, it wasn't that long ago that 84 grand would get you like a premier luxury car back in the day. And I'm not talking that far back. Like one of my friends, like, dude, I remember when you could buy an 80 Bauer Expedition for like 35,000.
Yep.
So that's definitely a sign of where we're at in terms of car prices. So like, we're $84,000 for a full size SUV with a body kit is not bad.
Yeah, I think it's a complete waste of money for 84 grand. At 84 grand, if you buy this and not a Dodge Durango Hellcat, you clearly don't actually care about performance.
Or hell, even like GV80 fully spec'd out is still a little bit less than 84,000.
And I mean, like, you know, I'm not saying ridiculing people is a good idea, but like for sure, when I was younger, the idea of someone who was a poser, who like would do things or wear things or and like have things around them that made them seem to be something they were not, that was a bad thing. Nobody wants to be that person. At least they didn't used to be. And for me, this is a complete poser car, unless you are just the most dedicated Nissan fan. You just think everything Nissan does is the coolest. In that case, not a poser car. Genuinely cool. You know, that press idea of towing a sports car with this,
yeah,
that makes sense. That's exactly what this is for in my brain. And anything short of that is like you're a little bit burning money for no sense. Because you and me both like the Pro 4X version of this, right?
very handy. Very
like my experience in this is that it doesn't handle very well on the road. Even the NISMO version is not very good. But the Pro 4X is shockingly okay for the road while still being good off-road. And it's like, yeah, go ahead.
It's a body-on-frame SUV, so it's supposed to handle a truck because it kind of is. So it makes sense when you have, you know, big skid plates, all-terrain tires, bigger suspension. It all works because you're kind of used to it. But when you put it into something more fancy, or even the Nismo, which granted it does ride a little bit better than like Plan Reserve, just a little bit. Yeah, I took
totally
a
agree.
on the highway speeds, and I did feel the suspension catch itself from leaning too much to one side for the body roll. So I was like, all right. So they did put some engineering to it to make it handle just a little bit better because it does have more power. The standard
it does have more power. Totally true.
Standard Armada has like 425. This has 460, which puts it like, hey, that's like Mustang GT premium horsepower level. That's a muscle car from a twin turbo V6. So, and the exhaust is just a little bit louder, so it doesn't entice you on the highway. And you do have that little cool little Nismo RPM gauge on the dash. So
there's so many Nismo badges. Yes. They're just everywhere.
it's a lot, but that's kind of what people want.
Yeah.
So I understand. And look, and I started thinking about this more. I was like, this is ridiculous, but it is not. This is what Nissan does. Like, Nissan is the first company that gave us the convertible Murano Cabriolet. Remember that? Like 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Ever a convertible crossover, which I think now would be. I think that vehicle was too ahead of its time. If it came back now, it'd be a hit. Because people are kind of like getting tired of seeing SUVs and crossovers because there's so much of them. You put one out with like a soft top or a full back roof, make it look like a 60s Lincoln Continental with 4 doors and no roof. People will buy it now because now it's more about flex and showing off and standing out, which is what made this vehicle popular at the event because it was the only one there. It was the only one people had seen in person. So naturally, they were just flocking towards it and just looking around it and checking out the seats, and they were amazed by it. And I love that you open up the hood and the plastic engine cover has a dash of red, just to continue the theme of just a touch of red. Just it's plastic, but it's red and it's shiny, and people are like, ooh, people like it. You're like, hey, it's just a 3.5 liter V6 you get in almost any other Nissan, but here it's like that. Again, it's this car's main party piece is showmanship.
Yeah.
The circus on wheels. It's big and it's loud and it makes you want to have a good time and bring the whole family around. You know why? Because they all fit underneath this giant tent. Get in here. So I appreciate for what it is, particularly now when a lot of cars tend to follow like the same trend of, time of committee, finance bros in charge instead of enthusiasts. This does at least feel like an enthusiast-backed car. Like there's like someone had to convince an entire staff of bean counters, like, no, we need to do this. Like, we're going to lose money, but we need to do it anyways. So I appreciate that somehow they managed to pull this off and introduce it. It'll be funny to see, like, 7 years down the line, someone has one with no miles and is putting up for auction on bring a trailer with some classic Nissan Z next to it when it's a package deal. Because this is pretty good. If you're a collector of Nissans, this is probably one to have in your fleet. Because not only does it look, it stands out with everybody else, you can tow your entire collection with this thing.
There's a story right there. Like, man, so many great takes there. But there's a story in this idea of, like, let's say you're a NISMO collector. You want to have every single thing that's a NISMO branded car, right? It would be fascinating to go back to, let's say, the first 10 ever made and look at their engineering changes. Like, how far did the engineering change between the NISMO version and whatever the original was to today? Like, is that gap consistent? Because I'm willing to bet that, like, if we go look at the early Nismos, there were dramatic engineering shifts, changes to those cars that made them dynamically much, much better, right? I look at the NISMO Armada as a bunch of hypocrisy, if I'm totally honest, from Nissan, because they talk about, like, well, we don't want to put that brand on just anything. And then they pick literally the worst performance metric vehicle in the fleet, basically, because weight makes all performance less good, right?
Well, look,
just seems crazy.
If they're going to do it now, I want to see a Nissan Sentra Nismo, the new ones. I want to see one of those. They used to make a Nissan Nismo Frontier way back. I know they made one or two. It was a Pro 4X Nismo.
Hang on.
Kind of like with Toyota when they had their TRD. And
oh, you are so right.
I know because I saw one the other week, last week, and I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen one of those in forever. Look at that. So, okay, you did it once, bring it back. Put the new Frontier and give it a Nismo badge. I want to see it.
Holy moly, it's newer than you think, too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's both newer and older than you think. Hey, Jesus! What an angle, bro.
So I'm like, hey,
first, hold on. I'm going to share everybody. Everyone deserves to see this. If you're not watching on YouTube, that's the place to do it. Watch it on YouTube. Not only can you see Jesus's attractive cowboy hat, but you can see exactly what we're talking about in the moment most of the time.
Yeah.
This thing showed up. There's really nothing to the. If you took the NISMO sticker off the side, nothing about that would look special. It would just look like, oh, okay, it's a truck.
Yeah, another
We have the Frontier Nismo off-road.
Yeah.
And then they did it again for 2022.
Yeah, but I've never seen like a 22 version. I haven't seen one of those on the street ever. I've seen the Pro 4X and everything else, but I haven't seen one of those yet.
Oh, dude, this is a concept. They never sold this.
You're right there, and you did it once, so just bring it back. Someone will buy it.
Like this right here, people would love this. Look at that thing. That is totally, that right there, as it sits, is a Raptor competitor. It's a Trail Hunter competitor. Uh, what is Nissan doing? This was it. This was what they needed to do. And look at the timing. 2022, everybody. Like
The V8 concept. Oh, that is so cool.
5.6 liter V8. This is what they needed to do.
Yeah. That was
There's another story. There's another story for us. Let's go back and look at all the cool concepts and like the things automakers were like, we're going to do this. And then they never did it. And it
just trickled down. But look,
Yeah.
I mean, even the new Murano, which right now it looks pretty good, slap a NISMO badge on it and give it a body kit. That would look pretty cool because it's already a car essentially designed for looking good above everything else. Because everything else is pretty mundane on that SUV, but it looks really sharp. So put a NISMO badge on it and get some flashy wheels on it, some red pinstriping or body kit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't really love the Murano personally. Nothing about it really speaks to me. That having been said, I do think there's a huge space for automakers to start lowering crossovers. And I don't mean making them smaller,
No.
literally like a lowering kit almost, and make them a little more car-like. Because let's all be real, there's going to be a wave back away from big stuff towards small stuff coming up. And, you lower a crossover, you're going to get better fuel economy. You're going to get better driving dynamics without changing anything else. There's definitely a room there, right?
Yeah, there's a chance to be a little silly because I think people need that more than ever now. We need ridiculous cars again. Now I don't mean like supercars, Hellcats, and anything. No, I mean like just mundane cars, making them look more exciting. So, because I will say, this Armada, if I had to drive this every day for work, school drop-offs, whatever it is, I would be happy because like, all right, this thing is at least it's funny, it's silly, I'm enjoying myself. Everybody else
It stands out.
gets a kick out of it too. So like, oh, nice. Yeah. So I like that aspect of it. And
Could not agree more.
I'm pretty sure people who buy it are buying it for that aspect. I did see one on the street already, and I immediately thought, oh my god, someone bought one.
Yeah.
And then second one, she's like, why? And now that I've driven it, like I get it now. They're probably paying way too much for it from a dealer, but I understand the reasoning or why they did that. So you know what? Splurge a little. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. If I had to drive one every day, I would choose this one over the GMC Yukon I had last week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't had a Yukon in a long time, but I would too. The Yukon's got to be even heavier, I would imagine.
They're wider, they're bulkier. You feel, I mean, even you that you're pretty tall, you
Right.
probably feel my height sitting in this thing because you're just looking over the dash to look over the hood. It's crazy, and they don't drive as nice. It's very vague, which makes you even more paranoid because you're driving a big, heavy thing with you can't see over it, so you kind of feel like you're 14 years old driving your dad's truck, that kind of thing. You're like, oh no, I'm gonna hit something, trying to use the force. So I would choose this Armada over the GMC Yukon every single time.
Yeah, I think I probably would too, granted, again, having not driven a Yukon in a while. Really no thoughts to provide on my side about really anything else NISMO Armada related, I don't think.
We can branch on to the next topic, which is one thing I have noticed on this particular Nissan model is that there's no camera in front of the steering wheel, which I like. There's nothing there. Nothing's reading my face. For my own safety, of course, because that's the new thing they're bringing on. The new law is passing that by 2027, they're gonna mandate that all new vehicles post 2027 have basically cameras scanning your face for your own safety, of course, to make sure that you are not driving impaired. So it's going to be scanning your eyes, make sure they're not dilated, to make sure you're not jolting off, make sure they're awake, make sure you're looking at the road. And they phrase all this for your own safety. It's going to cut down on accidents, all that, like yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, sure. But that benefit is at sacrificing a lot of privacy for something that you're paying for, which is like, hey, it's your own vehicle. Usually it's the one safe spot we have in our everyday lives is, all right, this is my car. I'm in control of this. Now it's like, oh, wait, yeah, I'm in control. And also people looking at it that can turn it off anytime they want. If by some situation where like, hey, guess what? I'm having really bad allergies, so my eyes are a little puffy. Maybe they're not as wide as they used to be, and the car's gonna be like, oh wait, you're impaired. You can't drive. That's the thing. The good thing about this new law is that even though it's going to go into effect, OEMs have stated that the technology to put it in is still miles away from being completed. Like they are nowhere near close to actually fulfilling this, 2027 deadline. So they might have to push it later on to like 2030 because it has with this kind of software it has to be dead on. Even with like a 99% guarantee, that still leaves way too many variants for it to go wrong, for it to be like to get wrong. To like, oh, they're not impaired. They have allergies. Oh, they're not impaired. They're panicking because they're in a dangerous situation. They're trying to get away. So it has to be flawless in order for it to work the way they're trying to market it as.
I've been super fortunate to be able to write about this a couple times, so I've got just the tiniest little bit of insight, at least on that end of it. It is about impairment. It's really not about like, oh, well, the government wants to be able to turn your car off. Everything that I've seen thus far is that the government itself wouldn't have direct access to the system. It would be automaker specific. So, GM's system would be entirely housed and like any data that's going to anywhere is going to go directly to GM, for instance. And like Hyundai would be totally different. But you make so many good points there. Even if it is, let's say the system is 99.99999% effective, there's a big issue, right? I thought this was interesting in this video that we talked about earlier. This system is looking at this person and determining if they're attentive or not. And then it is, quote, calibrating impairment. And that circles back to this idea that you mentioned about like how many times is this thing going to mess up over its lifetime, and how is it going to fail? When we use our phones for like face unlock or whatever, we've got to give it a bunch of angles, we've got to move around and look at it and all this other stuff. All of these systems are going to need something similar. And this calibrating impairment, for instance, just an example, if you get a person who abuses some sort of substance, if they want to calibrate it to when they're under the influence, what's to stop them? Just even that one issue.
Like that old joke, like, hey, just get to your license photo, just show up drunk. That way it looks like you're drunk when you get pulled over. So the same thing. Also, what if I just wear really dark sunglasses or a mask? Does that mean the car's not going to start because it can't read my face? At that point, like, well, what am I paying this car for? Like, I'm the driver. At that point, just get the damn car because it's not mine.
Yeah, we've already seen so many there's already a couple ads out there about this. They're like, what if a woman is trying to escape an attacker? And of course she's panicked. So the car's like, let's try a breathing exercise and try to get you to calm down a little bit. And then we'll let you start the car.
Like your pulse is really high, man. I don't think you're safe to be driving. It's like,
no.
Shit. Freddy Krueger's outside my window. So, and again, what drives me nuts is like, the government's not getting involved. Surely. It's like, we're just using this data for your safety. We're not storing it and using it to spy on you so we can then direct ads to, so that you can sell you more crap. Of course not. We never do that. Yeah, that never happens ever. It's like, we're just storing this data. Why are you storing it? It's like, nothing happened that day. Delete it. Nah, we're just storing it. Why? Records. That's the thing that really bothers me, is that they're selling this to you as a safety feature. It's like, oh yeah, it's for your own safety. Don't you want your kids to be safe? Don't you want to cut down on deadly accidents? Like, yes, but there's a better way to do it, not this one. How about instead of teach me how to drive this car better so that I don't have to go involved in these accidents instead of just putting cameras in my face. It's like this equivalent of like, hey, you want to teach your kid how to ride a bike? Nah, it's a lot easier to just put them in a bubble. That way, they never get sick. They're all guaranteed safely. Just put them in a bubble. Don't teach them how to ride. It's dangerous. They might fall down.
You
Oh,
know, we're a non-political podcast, everybody. So don't take what I'm about to say as like leaning in any direction. But if you're gonna complain that, or if you're gonna say, well, we want to do stuff to make people safer, maybe make just having a driver's license to begin with hard enough that most people are actually good at driving, that they actually care about it, that they know how to handle a vehicle when it fishtails. Make it that hard, because that alone is going to solve a lot of problems.
yeah, we're not saying
Man,
fail people if they hit a traffic cone. No, we're like, no, all right. If they do fail, tell them exactly why they did. He's like, all right. He's like, you did good in these aspects, but in this one area, you won't pass. But practice this, do this, and again, you can go so much to the basics. Like, hey, look, guess what? You can't drive on wet roads if your tires don't have any tread on them. Bald tires in the rain doesn't work. Because believe it or not, people assume people know this stuff. They don't. Like
you're right.
never assume people know. So if you think, oh, well, how did that happen? They didn't know because no one told them. If no one tells you and you don't know about it, then it doesn't exist until something happens. So like, what happened? Oh, there you go. Lesson learned. Cool.
I didn't realize it until just a second ago, but you know what this transitions beautifully to?
Hmm.
More police state stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of funny to me, everybody, inside baseball here, that I didn't even tell Jesus about. But I live in Arkansas where so many police chases happen. And we're about to talk about one because it's insane. This officer, Collier Wright, I guess he gets up behind somebody and decides to try to pull him over. This video is a solid 16 minutes long. He's got the lights on. They're doing 37. It's like a normal traffic stop. And then, Jesus, what was it that caught your eye about this?
The speed, honestly, because I mean, people forget modern vehicles. They're peppy, man. Excluding maybe bigger trucks and SUVs, but sedans and some crossovers. I mean, they are capable of going well over 120, 130 into like 140 territories. And we're not talking like Hellcats. We're talking like just like Genesis sedans. Certain Hyundais, certain Kias. Like I know my mom's 2012 Kia Optima Turbo that could do 145 cruising, no problem. So we forget how fast modern cars have, and no one knows more of this than Arkansas Highway Patrol because they love high speed chases. So it's like they say they gotta get one, and so this is crazy because this officer he is trying to pull over this I think it's a Genesis sedan. They're doing 135, 140 on the highway. You're just zipping through cars and traffic, and he finally pits them at over 130 miles an hour. And surprise, surprise, when you hit a car at 130, even if you spin the car out, you run the risk of losing control. And he does lose control, and he wipes out horrendously. But thankfully, he did it in a way without affecting other cars because he literally slides sideways past three other vehicles on the highway, hits the cement wall like straight out of NASCAR. And it's funny because all right, cool, the day is saved. We stopped this dangerous driver by being a dangerous driver. So,
Yeah.
and we've talked before because they're starting to come down like, hey, not every state has their own procedure and protocol when it comes to pit maneuvers. I do know that Arkansas and Georgia, they leave it up to the individual officer. Like, hey, it's up to you to decide if this is safe or not. So, naturally, 130 is safe. Why not? I'm in control. It's like, yeah, but there's other cars on the road. If it was just on a racetrack or it's just you guys by themselves, hey, go have at it, man. Do 150. I don't care. But the fact that you might hit another vehicle that's just cruising along, and then they're stuck with the bill because I can't imagine the headache of trying to tell the city, hey, your trooper wiped me out on the highway chasing somebody. Who's gonna pay for this? The city goes, good luck.
And yet, they've done exactly that. Like, Arkansas Patrol has pitted at least 3 people I know, or hold on, at least 2 people I know of, maybe a third. I can't remember if that was in Arkansas or not. But they've pitted at least 3 people in the last, I think, 5 or 6 years that had literally nothing to do with whatever was going on. In one case that I wrote about late last year, I believe, maybe early this year, the officer pulls the vehicle over, they stop. As the officer's walking up, the driver drives away. The officer runs back to their car, gets in, drives forward. The vehicle has never lost visual contact. It's in the video the entire time. The officer does not realize that and pits a different vehicle entirely.
And there is some, like, I do understand from a cop's perspective, because I do understand that driving these patrol cars. I remember the one time I drove a Crown Vic full on in service duty cop car. I was like, I can't see out of this thing because I can't. There's laptops, there's equipment, there's a cage. Like, you have to depend on your mirrors for everything. You can't see out of it. I can't imagine what it's like in these giant Tahoes, Explorers, and Chargers too. And so you're doing 140, 130, chasing a suspect, moving through cars, while still being on the mic, telling people your position, what's going on, what kind of laws he's breaking. So it's a lot to do, which makes you think, all right, well, in that case, unless they just shot the president or something like a really heinous crime, maybe call ahead. Isn't that that used to be the old saying, you can't outrun a Motorola, so call ahead. It's like, hey, there's someone coming flying right by you. Intercept them while over here, I'll back it up. Then just back up a little bit, because most of the time they said, like, if you slow down and you let them get away, most of the times the suspect will slow down because they think they got away. Even though you already have license plates, you know where they are, you know where their address is, you're already sending units to their house to meet them there.
I think we should, let's try something a little bit silly, if you're good with it, bro.
Sure.
I'm going to play a video for you, and you're just going to live react to it.
Okay.
It's gonna be a couple minutes, and I'm going to skip the, I'll skip the stop.
I think I've seen this one already.
You might have.
Yeah, because I will admit, I do like old-fashioned police chase. I mean, I grew up, and, like, people of a certain age remember, like, Spike TV when you used to have, like, the world's wildest police chase videos. And that was I look at them back now, and it's funny because the narrator is like exclaiming, "Oh my God, they're doing 90 miles an hour!" It's like, hey, I do that just going to work, because that's how far cars have advanced now. It's like the 90s pushing 100, that was crazy. Now you have to be doing 140, 150 for people to, like, raise an eyebrow, like, oh, they're going fast. So people don't realize modern vehicles are way more capable, but a lot of drivers aren't anymore. So there's definitely a gap between automotive technology and drivability. And like I said, cops are trained how to do this, but that doesn't make them racing drivers. And
You're totally right.
And it's tough for them because they have to do all these other things while they're in pursuit. They can't just focus 2 hands on the wheel and what they're doing. They have to be on the radio. They have to make sure nothing else gets hit. That car is weighed down with a lot of equipment, so any kind of movement is going to throw the car off. And this is that's a Buick, right? It's one of the new ones.
Yeah, it's like an Invista or something. For all of you who are not watching us on YouTube, ASP officer, as Jesus has been talking, an ASP officer decided to pull over a Buick Invista, which is like a crossover. It's a relatively small crossover. And he's pulled him over on the side of the road here. Now he's making an approach on the passenger side. And I could be wrong, but I believe they actually do have a bit of a conversation. And I think, yeah, okay, so the Trooper Fitzgerald's talking to the person in the vehicle. It's a white Buick Invista, which is obnoxiously important in this particular case. And so they're having a conversation. Not sure what gets said. I'm going to try to... Go ahead.
I've been stopped a few times by police, more than I care to share. And every single time I'm on the highway, I like to let them sit behind me until I get off the exit, because I hate stopping on the actual highway. I've seen too many videos of people getting hit, and it just terrifies me. So if you do have to pull over on the side of the road because you're being pulled over, get as far to the median as possible.
Yeah.
Just leave that room between the breakdown lane and the actual traffic.
Remind me before we close to tell you a quick story about me the last time I got pulled over. Okay, so the trooper has pulled the person over about 3 minutes and 45 seconds into the video. They talked to them until about roughly the 7-minute mark. We're going to skip to that and then continue. I've only stopped sharing to get the video to play properly because we're having bandwidth issues, everybody.
I think the last time I got pulled over, it was because the trooper was bored and he wanted to see the car I was driving, which was the Mercedes AMG wagon.
I've been pulled over. The last 2 times I was pulled over, it was completely silly. We can talk about them in a second. But okay, so we're around the 7-minute mark. The trooper's gone back to their car. They've done whatever they got to do. I don't remember the situation, if they got a warrant on this person or... but he asked the person to hop out. He goes to the rear driver's side of the vehicle and asks them to hop out. He's trying to be safe and avoid being in traffic. And he asks them to hop out. He turns around. What am I getting out for? I got the inventory of the vehicle. I smell marijuana, so I got to check. Yada, yada, yada. Go ahead and step out for me. Even though there's a car that just passed in the right lane.
And move over.
The door opens. And clearly he's so close that it's a bit awkward. The officer's touching the back of the car and boom, there the car goes. Okay, Jesus, watch this very closely. Pay attention to the Buick.
I can still see it. It just sped off right into the far left lane, right there.
What are you thinking if you're a Buick Envista driver trying to get away from the police?
Hope and a prayer, because that is not a fast vehicle. It's zippy, but it's on highway speeds. For the trooper, come on, man, step it up. It's already gone. It's going after this much larger white SUV. What are you doing? Dude, Buick's miles away now. Is it really going to pit over this giant Yukon? Come on. Oh, no. That's insane. No way. He just pitted a giant Yukon instead of a little small Buick Envista. I'm sorry, man, but you can't.
It's going to get worse.
Oh, God.
He's got a gun out now.
Oh, because now it's a fleeing suspect.
And it's this little lady.
Dude, I would have been livid. Like, are you? Because then she just, like, that little pit, it didn't spin it around. It just kind of, because again, this civilian has no idea what's going on, so she just stopped the car. It's like, hey, you're trying to pit over a Yukon, it's not going to work. So she just stopped and got out of the car, like, hey, what the hell? But all that damage to the rear bumper, that definitely affected some sensors. Oh, God. That's gonna be like several weeks in the shop now, just because of that little fender bender. But that's insane.
To ASP's credit, they did fire that guy.
Yeah. It's like, are you blind? Get an eye test, because that's crazy. It's like, you see the video, it just speds off, goes straight into the far left lane to just out. Now I kind of want to talk to the Buick Envista driver, just looking back like, well, he's not chasing me. Oh, nice.
Worked out great.
Worked out great. But I'm sure they still have his license plates on the camera, and they ran his ID, so he's going to get in trouble regardless.
Yeah.
But in that situation, like, was it worth it to chase after them? Like,
especially the 132 one. Do we know what the crime was for that, by the way?
I don't. But for this Buick instance, like, was it worth it to chase them? I mean, you smell marijuana, so it's probable cause. You're going to search the vehicle, and they just took off. Well, odds are it's just a paranoid druggie. They're not going to have an arsenal in the back of this Buick. They're not transporting kilos. So let them go. You already have the information. Chase them down later. Follow them up with some trooper down the road. Like, hey, look out for this white Vista license plate. Yada yada. Pull them over. He fled from me, so take him down. Like, there's a lot of ways. You don't just go chasing down the first white SUV you see on the road. I mean, That's hilarious. And I'm pretty sure that lady's going to sue also, because I would.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see where that goes. It didn't happen all that long ago either. All right. You sent me a fascinating thing with a police chief who was basically like, it's totally fine for us to speed. Let's
Yeah.
see if we can make the sound work here. I'm not totally sure it will, but we'll
Yeah,
give it a
we'll
shot.
just discuss that real quick. It's not that deep. It's basically this guy, he's a head honcho in the
Uh, OHP Mark Warren. I don't know what that means. Orlando Highway Patrol. I don't
yeah,
know. Oregon Highway Patrol. It's got to be a state, right? So like Oregon,
whatever it is. But it's pretty
Ohio.
interesting because this issue is not directed only to Arkansas and Georgia or Texas even. It's nationwide because every single state has their own ways of patrolling the highways. And so they're basically interviewing these officers like, hey, look, how fast can these chargers go? They go about they top out like at 150. And
Yeah,
it's like,
let's let him. Let's try to play it and see if it'll work.
Fastest you ever drove one of them?
I think they're governed at 150
Does that mean that's as fast as you've gone?
in a Charger.
Right.
Yes.
You've driven 150 miles an hour on the road.
Yes.
Was that a common occurrence?
It could be if you're out working and you get a car doing 100 miles an hour on the Muskogee Turnpike and you go down to turn around. By the time you catch something, you're maxed out at 150 for several miles.
You as an organization deem that to be safe.
It's been safe for me for years and every other trooper I've known. I mean, you're trained to operate a vehicle at high speeds.
Well, operating a vehicle at high speeds doesn't necessarily deem whatever you're doing safe, does it?
I'm not saying it's completely safe. You could have a blowout, but yeah, to turn around on a vehicle, you're going to have to do those kind of speeds to catch somebody. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, you can run into another car, right?
Could. You certainly could.
I'm sure you've heard of that happening with your fellow officers, right?
Yes, yes.
Objective form.
I'm sure you've heard of that happening and it resulting in people losing their lives.
Yes.
You had one of those Chargers.
Did that come through okay?
it did.
Ha
And a lot of people's response, because the response was very like, well, I do it and I haven't crashed. It's like, yes, you're good, but not everybody else. It's not like it's not fail safe. It's not guaranteed like, hey, just because you know how to handle a car at 140 doesn't mean that it's always going to work out. Like
Hold on,
F1
but
time, you know what I mean?
in a way though, you know what he's kind of saying without saying it. If you're trained to go that fast, it's totally safe.
Exactly. So give me a credential that says, hey, I'm rated for 150 miles an hour. So why are you stopping me? I know what
Not
I'm doing.
political, but like, if that was gonna be the way it went,
Yeah, because so because he's trained, he's allowed to do it. So if I'm trained, can I do it? If
you know,
have certificate says I can, and my car is built for that, because some cars are built for that to go that fast. I mean, quote unquote, I may or may have not done 175 miles an hour in a Hellcat Challenger one time on the highway.
what's the fastest you've ever gone?
175,
trying to remember.
and that was
I'm
that was like, all right, cool, okay, I did it. And I took a photo of the speedometer just proof, and then deleted the record. And I'm like, okay, and that made me understand. Like, I understand why there's so many chases with these Mopars, because it's just so tempting. Like, hey, I can do 180 if I want, and it's not going to be. I don't need 10 miles to do it.
I wonder what it would take for us to get a racing license, you and me.
It kind of depends on, because there's degrees to it. There's qualifications, and the higher you go, the more expensive it is.
Maybe
But I
that's
think-
something we work on.
Can't be that much. There's basically a piece of paper that says, "Hey, you know how to drive fast."
Yeah. All right. What do we got going next week, dude?
Well, I'm going to be in Austin test driving the new 2026, 2027 Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the big boy, big boss. So I'm going to see what we're going to do with that in Austin, whether they're going to be in the city, cruising around, or taking it out to the country and doing some actual Jeep stuff with it. Because they should be able to do all the Jeep stuff. Even though it doesn't have a Jeep badge on it, because they want to get away from that. It's a Wagoneer. It's still a Jeep at heart, so it should be able to tackle trails and whatever it is. So I'm going to find out if we do get some off-road hands on it. All right? Can it do it, or is it too big? Because I will say the Yukon AT4 that I had, very capable, but not my first choice to go tackling like a steep terrain or rugged or anything like that because it's very big.
Fascinated to see what you come up with. Love the Wagoneer last time I drove it. So, yeah, great SUV last time I had it. Surprising for being a Jeep, how good it is in a lot of ways. I don't know what I've got going. I've got a Kia Sorento here for a week, and I've had it before. This one in particular is a plug-in hybrid, which I don't think I've had, but it's super classy looking.
As plug-in hybrids because they actually deliver in terms of fuel economy and range.
Yeah, and I think the week after you're out of town, I'm going to be out of town driving Lexus ES, so that's exciting.
Lovely.
Between now and then, any words for our listeners, our watchers?
Yeah, like because I have people that come up to me like, "Hey, I want to buy a new car," and I buy something like, "Hey, wait a year or two, maybe." It's like, or followed by, "Do you need one? Like, is your current car broken down? Is it giving you trouble? Is it outside of the road?" Like, it's like, no, it's fine. All right, then just change the oil, look after it, give it another year because right now it's insane. If people are saying that $85,000 for an SUV is not bad, that is terrifying. It's like, I don't care if your credit is $900 and you put down $10,000. You are not going to get that car for $500 a month for a reasonable 3 to 4 years. Yeah. Even with all that, you're not doing it. Doesn't exist anymore. So, that's the thing. So I'm asking the viewers and listeners, have you bought a new car this year? If you have, are you willing to tell us what you're paying for it per monthly? Is it a lease? Is it a buy? Is it a brand new one? Or other flip side, are you keeping your older vehicle for another 2 years just to see what happens? Like, are you struggling with the car payments, or are you looking for a new car? If so, what's your budget in 2026? And if you have an older vehicle, are you keeping it on the road for another couple of years? Are you trying to hold it together? Like, what's your car situation right now? That's what I'm curious. Because you and I, we're fortunate. We have our own fleet of junkyard cars that we're totally fine getting down and dirty to fix them up. But I know most people are not in that luxurious position that we are.
You're right. That's a great question. And I would tack on that. What kind of car are you looking for if you're in the market? Because I would imagine that's a shifting perspective these days. Till then, everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. We're super grateful that you spend any time with us. We are self-funded, so feel free to, send us a very nice comment or share this with anybody or subscribe to the podcast. All of those things obnoxiously help more than I would like them to. I would love for people to just enjoy this and share it because they like it and lots of people love it. So have a lovely week. Thank you for spending your time with us. And we'll see you next week with more information on the Jeep Wagoneer.